Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to do, we're going to wrap up part 2 of the series of Dana Loesch over the target, dropping carpet bombs on gun control, particularly Kamala Harris. This is something that is incredibly important because you can hear it from me all day long. I am very specified in the gun world. I tend to bridge the politics of the gun world and the gun world news together for the general outcome so you guys can have a whole complete picture. But this is a general conservative commentator. She's walking into the gun world and she's dropping facts. But she speaks to a different audience from a different perspective, and that's why we're doing this. This is part 2. Make sure you watch part 1. And of course, everything is linked in the description box below along with timestamps so you can see the entire thing. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on so you can spread some freedom everywhere you go, because that is what we are all about. And the last thing that I wanted to say before I get to her, because this is important, don't let this guy, the YouTube algorithm, don't let him catch you unawares and be snacking on your algorithm, on your YouTube subscription. A lot of people daily tell me that they've been unsubscribed, like genuinely daily. Make sure you're not one of the victims of this guy, because it's just dumb. So let's just prevent that from happening. Make sure you check it. It's free. I appreciate it. Now let's get into the second one. This second clip, this is where she starts to unload. If you saw the first clip today, that was the earlier video. She lays the groundwork for why this is dangerous and where this is going to be. This second clip, this second part of these timestamps is where she just unleashes on the mentality of gun control. This is beautiful. You're going to love every second of it. So let me get to the next one here. This is at 6 minutes into this clip. And again, everything's linked if you want to watch the entire thing. But let me get to 6 minutes, and then we are going to start breaking this down again. Here we go.
Black market. And in order to have a quote-unquote universal background check, they want to bar private sales. But in order to do that, for everyone to be able to use a system that not everyone can be able to use, that's already faulty, and that's a whole other subject, the government has to have a list of every single thing that you own in order for it to work. But that's prohibited by federal law because the government can't, legally have a national registry. So they would have to go about it. That's why they keep trying to do this and say we need to regulate this as a health issue, et cetera, have the CDC involved, because they want to try to figure out some weak spot, some way around it so they can establish a registry. Red flag laws, why the hell do you need red flag laws? Red flag laws didn't work with the last several mass casualty incidents in California. Red flag laws didn't work with the mass casualty incidents in New York. Red flag laws didn't work with the mass casualty incidents in Illinois. They don't work. You know why? Because it presupposes that people have to follow the system in order to make sure that that comes into play. And furthermore, you don't need a separate erosion of due process with the red flag system if you simply follow the existing laws and legal pathways already to render someone, have them adjudicated a prohibited possessor. But see, politicians don't want to tell you that. They think you're stupid, and they want you to think that there's absolutely no way legally for you to make sure that someone cannot get a firearm if they are a danger to themselves or others, and that the only way to do it is the diminishment of due process for everyone, completely across the United States of America. It's malicious. Now,
I love that so much. See, I told you in the first video, she starts to unleash the full arsenal here in a second. She hits on universal background checks, which requires a universal registry. 100% correct. She is absolutely over the target. You cannot have a universal background system in place if you do not know where every single gun that you are universally background checking is. It is impossible. So in order to have the universal background check system, you have to have a registry. It is that simple. It's not difficult. One cannot exist without the other. That's why you guys need to share this stuff, because when you share these types of videos that we're doing right now, this is where you spread information to those who are not aware of what's going on as deeply as you are. Red flag laws. The other thing that she hit on, it's pointless. People don't do it correctly. It's never enforced correctly. It doesn't work in any gun control bastion that it's used in. And it erodes the due process rights of every single American in order to enforce something that already exists on the books. But like she said, politicians will not tell you that. You can have someone mentally adjudicated through a process of due process. It already exists. It's already on the books. But they want red flag laws. Why? Why would they want something that's completely different, that completely hinges on a universal background check system, which also completely hinges on a red flag law system? I've got an entire video where Jerry Nadler, the high-waisted fiend, lays out the entire gun control monster by accident because he's dumb. But that's the entire point. All of these things are incremental cuts of death to the Second Amendment because they're just going to keep on cutting and keep on cutting. Oh, well, because I made that cut, I need this cut to fix the whole cut. That's the whole problem. The due process piece, I'm personally very irritated about because it's the biggest threat to due process on the planet, wrapped up in safety, just like everything else that they do. It's all manipulation meant to give you less rights by leveraging your fear. It's nefarious doesn't even begin. I think malicious is good. I'm going nefarious. But anyway, let me get you to this next one because this is the 840. I got to get to these clips. These clips are so good. I genuinely have always liked Dana Loesch. I may not be perfect with everything that she says, but this part is gold.
But all of the people who say that the state has been murdering innocent people are also the same people that are demanding that only the state should have guns. Do you see the stupidity of this position that the left holds as it pertains to gun control? I mean, the justice system has absolutely repeatedly established that the state has no legal obligation at all whatsoever to protect your life.
All right, that one's another one I put in there just because a lot of you say that in the comments on a lot of my videos. That's absolutely true. There's multiple court cases that prove that. But that's not what I want to focus on. What I really want to focus on is what she said around the mentality and the understanding. The left, the gun controllers, the people who are out there who are saying you don't need to have guns because guns equal scary, are the exact same people that are saying the government should be able to take your guns. In one aspect, again, remember this is something I always say about the platform that gun controllers prescribe to. Typically they're on the Democrat side. Sometimes they're not, but typically they're on the Democrat side. When you look at one column, which is government bad because government hurt people because government is an oppressor. Okay, that's one. Then the other one is government should be able to take your guns away so they're the only ones with guns. What? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't check out on basic understanding because everything is an individualized focal point and everything is, what's it called? Not product tested, focus group tested. And it's all about how does it sound for these individual things, but they never tied them together. That's the entire point. But let's keep going. I got two more for you. This one starts at 11 minutes, and we're about to get spicy because these two are fire. If you're still hanging in here for this, get ready because this is awesome. 11:08 is where we're going.
How would Kamala Harris and all of these other people go and institute a mandatory buyback? Because mandatory suggests that there's an expectation of noncompliance. So how are you going to engage in something like this? Are you going to take your guns to go and confiscate guns, or are you going to do it through magic? It's a legitimate question. I mean, either you believe in the possibility of a tyrannical state to the point where you don't ever want to be disarmed by it, or you do not believe in the possibility of a tyrannical state and the founders were wrong. You cannot have both premises be true simultaneously. And I always hear from people, well, she's only talking about AR-15. She's only talking about ARs. Okay, so like an AR-10, an AR-15, or is it just like a caliber fetish? Is it just 223 that's bad, but 308's okay? You know, I'm really curious with the brainiacs, and this is not anybody trying to flex on having a greater understanding of firearms. Language is important because the language that is used invokes certain aspects of the law. And if people can't respect this, then they shouldn't discuss it. I am not going to have my rights abridged by a dumbass who does not know the difference between a 223 and a 308.
She has an excellent point here. I mean, honestly, back out, zoom out for a second, and think about what she's saying. So it's only the AR-15. So is it only the ones that look like that? Or what about the AR-10s? What about a 308? Because the AR-10 shoots a 308. What about a 5.56? What about 223? What about the 25-45 sharps? What about a 300 blackout? Is it just anything that looks like this, or is it anything with a caliber? Like she said, is it a caliber fetish, which is a different thing? I'm sure it exists, but I don't need to talk about it right now. But she has an excellent point. If you don't even know the difference about what you're saying, and you have nothing to stand on except fear, intimidation, and irrational response, yeah, you're not getting anything. It ain't gonna happen, boo. You can be as mad as you want. But that's the entire point. She's bringing out some very interesting points. At what point do you stop? Because when you go down the road of F you know, like straight up FPC style, okay, that's one approach. But then to convince other people who you're hopefully sharing this video with, if you go down the next road of, let's explore that for a second. What does it look like? They have no answers because it's based in specificity. The actual rules that they're trying to enact to take your gun rights are based in broad-based lack of specificity. It's all about fear, emotional irrationality. It's not about, well, this one does this because of this. When they open up this quagmire of details, that's when it all falls apart. And she's highlighting that immediately and very, very well. Again, having different voices from outside the immediate gun sphere in YouTube is an excellent thing to have because it spreads different perspectives and different voices and different ways to deliver it. Now, this last one, we're going to 12:30, and then this is the last thing, and I love this part that she says because it's all about, I'm actually right there. It's all about something we've talked about a lot.
And God help you if you try. So, are we also only targeting the most commonly owned semi-automatic firearms? Like, because if that's what we're doing, that's going to run afoul of the common use litmus test that was established by Heller, the Heller decision. So, maybe is it just the ones that are black? I mean, and what if instead of black, we just use gray polymer? I mean, do you see how goofy this is? And if it's about reducing crime, why not target black market pistols? That's most commonly used in gang and drug crimes. Oh, because we can't penalize the criminals who Democrats seek to protect with restorative justice, heaven forbid. Thus, commonly owned semi-automatic rifles must be targeted instead. Now, if this is about saving lives, like actually saving lives, why not target drugs or drownings or automobile accidents, all of which are the #1 killer of children when you remove the CDC's insistence on adding 18 and 19-year-olds to the definition of children so they can pad the numbers and scare all the boxed wine moms sitting in their beige explosion living rooms on their jute rugs in heaven's suburbia and scare all of them into thinking that everyone's kid's going to be killed by a firearm when really 99% of it is driven by older, juvenile, young adults in gang and drug crimes.
Yes! First of all, the beige explosion, jute rugs, box wine moms, that's hilarious. I can't say it, but she can because she did, so go team. But I can comment on how funny that was. But this is the thing. What she's doing in this last clip is everything that we've been saying for months at this point. They are padding the numbers in order to scare people out of their rights. If you zoom out and you back off this, and I'm going to go bigger angle on this, because this is the payoff and the tie-in. If you zoom out and you look at what the arguments are from the left for gun control, they are not based in rationality. They are not based in detail. They are not based in specificity. They are based in broad-based fear, emotional, and irrationality. That is the entire thing, with the intended desire of control. So you are talking to people who are scared stuffless. I try not to curse on this channel. In order to scare them out of their rights for your own control. That's the point. It has nothing to do with where the actual crime is coming from. It has nothing to do with who's actually perpetrating the crime. It has to do with the government and the stats and the executive bureaucracies and the executive branch and the Democratic politicians who are trying to scare you out of your rights for their indeterminate control. That's the entire point. She nailed this whole clip. There was so much goodness in here, I had to do 2 videos on it. But I hope you guys enjoyed both of them. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.